Why Paul Scholes was completely right about Manchester United's wingers. That is what we are going to discuss today. Of course, Paul Scholes putting on his Instagram account. Anyone remember when wingers used to help their fullbacks out with a picture of David Beckham and Ryan Giggs? For me, this is one of the most apparent things for Manchester United right now. You think about all the top teams in European football, their attacking players defend like monsters, as Jurgen Klopp likes to call it. Manchester United's wingers at the moment aren't doing justice to the players around them. You know, we talk about the greatest United teams with David Beckham wide right. At times he'd double up with Gary Neville and be a second right back. Ryan Giggs was always positionally responsible, worked supremely hard in the defensive sense. And that's something that we're going to look at today from a tactical perspective because, of course, Paul Scholes makes great points on football at times, and this one for me is a fantastic point because United need to really up their game in those positions. So when we're looking at the match, of course, Manchester United set up 4-2-3-1 with Jadon Sancho wide left, Rashford through the middle, and of course Antony on the right-hand side. But I'd also bring Bruno Fernandes into this equation. We speak about wingers defending, but also maybe the number 10 needs to do a lot more work in a transitional sense. So let's flip the tactics board open and kind of talk about what Paul Scholes is kind of talking about. Obviously, he's poking fun at Manchester United in a sense, but there's some serious tactical problems. The first thing that I thought United really struggled with that caused massive problems, opened up faux counter-attacking situations, was their pressing was absolutely atrocious. Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Sancho and Antony, who were in that kind of pressing unit, really didn't squeeze the ball well. City simply played through. There was too much space for them to open up. But as well, the work rate from the wingers and the ability to switch over and compact the shape was very, very poor. United's first sort of defensive line, their three attackers, simply were just played through at ease by Manchester City and consequently created these situations where City basically had a 5-on-5 on United's backline, or at times they actually had a 5-on-4 on United's defensive line. And that's an issue, so not only the wingers aren't doing the proper work when it comes to pressing, and as well Marcus Rashford, I thought at times just didn't squeeze the game enough, wasn't intense enough. Yes, he's coming back from injury, yes, I understand that part about it, but the intensity there was not good enough from Marcus Rashford. And I would put him in this collective of the wingers because let's say Jadon Sancho's in an attacking position, Rashford needs to work back and get into that defensive shape because too many times City would play through, they get in between the lines, with a ball to Jack Grealish, and we had issues with Antony and Jadon Sancho getting back. The first problem, of course, the simple side, we're going to talk about the right-hand side. Antony doubling up or even helping out Diogo Dalot would have been a massive benefit to United, which would have allowed, Scott McTominay to take more of a central position, not consistently have to move out there, covering more central space that City love to open up and love to play through balls in and create from. But also on the other side of the pitch, what we frequently saw with this game is City would combine down the left-hand side, get in behind Manchester United, and then look to score on the back post, where you'd see Foden sitting a bit deep. Of course, De Bruyne is getting involved in that, and Haaland's getting in there as well. The space that potentially Jadon Sancho could have covered would have massively helped United defensively, especially when defending their penalty, box. In a sense, what we found time and time again was City would work a really good passing move. Silva would get to the channel and look to have one of the centre-backs 1v1. Malacia would drop in. McTominay would have to be super aggressive. Eriksen would be dealing with so much space, which just isn't his skill set is not defending the penalty area. He's a playmaker. He's arguably an attacking midfielder. But not having, Jadon Sancho dropping back into that back line just creates a massive problem for Manchester United. Again, time and time again, this happened. Not only was it creating down that left-hand side for City and scoring down the right, but it was creating down the right-hand side as well. Of course, one of the goals of the game, the Kevin De Bruyne ball to Haaland, who'd pulled onto Rafa Varane, was absolutely a sublime pass. But at that moment, there's a 2v1 on Malacia. This is basic things. This is basic defending as a winger. You have to make that move back and protect your fullback. You're arguably leaving your teammates out to dry. United again defending with 6. How many times have we said this in the last few years? The lack of intensity, lack of reaction. Also, the spacing was all off. From a defensive sense, especially when City were building in their own half. For me, the wingers were in poor positions. They were far too too wide on the pitch, and United's shape as a whole was far too wide. Opened up countless opportunity for City, to find that pass through into the feet of, a Haaland or into the feet of a Bernardo Silva, move into that. It was just too wide. And when you think about pressing structures and shapes, Pep Linders in his book talks about the 3 lanes that you have to cover when you're pressing. So the football pitch for Liverpool is broken down into 5 lanes. So you've got the wing areas, you've got the half space, and you've got the central space. So there's our 5 lanes. One here, one here, one here, one here, one here. So Liverpool talk about defending 3 lanes. United at the moment are currently covering the entire pitch, which doesn't work when you want to press. It's basic stuff that is causing Manchester United humongous problems, and the wingers need to put far more work in. But as well, same with Bruno Fernandes, same with Marcus Rashford. It's not good enough to play at the top level to just attack right now. This is simple stuff that United have failed to do, and Paul Scholes is completely right about it. When we take a look at some of the freeze frames of the game, this is the situation that we're talking about on the right-hand side of the pitch, with Kevin De Bruyne combining with Bernardo Silva. This wasn't actually with Phil Foden. They didn't directly combine. This was the ball to the back post for Haaland. So not only we had that situation, but as well, we had another situation later on in the game for the 5th City goal, a 2v1 out wide. This time the ball's played inside by Jack Grealish, but again, it's a 2v1 versus Diogo Dalot. Look where the wingers are in this situation. They're high up the pitch. In both situations, the wingers aren't anywhere in sight to be in a good defensive position. And this is basic stuff. You don't have to have any talent to be a defender. You don't have to have any talent to work back. You have to have determination and an ability to be intense. And that is a humongous problem for Manchester United right now. You've got to go back to what we kind of started this with. Paul Scholes on his Instagram account. Remember when wingers used to help their fullbacks? So do you think Paul Scholes was right about Manchester United's wingers and them being completely stinking in the Manchester derby? Do get into the comments below. Check out SofaScore for all the statistics, and we will see you next time.